On January 3, 2026, the world was shaken by news that the United States had carried out a direct military operation inside Venezuela. What first appeared as scattered reports quickly turned into global headlines, signaling a sudden and dangerous escalation in international politics and drawing the attention of governments, analysts, and ordinary people around the world. Reports soon spoke of explosions near key locations, increased military movement, and a rapid breakdown of normal life in parts of the country. Streets that were once busy fell into confusion as sirens echoed and people struggled to understand why their country had suddenly become the focus of a major international crisis. Within hours, US officials confirmed that this was not a symbolic warning or a limited strike. It was a large-scale operation with clear political and strategic objectives. The seriousness of this confirmation alone was enough to alarm many, but what followed turned concern into shock. The announcement that Venezuela's president had been taken into US custody stunned audiences worldwide. In a single moment, the situation moved beyond a regional conflict and became a historic event with global consequences, forcing the world to confront how far this confrontation had gone. This immediately raised a critical question. How did a long-running political and diplomatic dispute transform into direct military action by a global superpower? Such decisions are rarely impulsive and almost always rooted in years of tension, pressure, and failed negotiations. The United States does not use military force casually. When it acts, it is usually after long periods of sanctions, warnings, and political standoffs. Venezuela had been under intense international pressure for years, slowly approaching a breaking point that many believed would eventually come. Venezuela's political system, its leadership, and its vast oil reserves have kept it at the center of US foreign policy debates. Over time, economic sanctions and diplomatic isolation increased pressure on the country. And January 3, 2026 appears to be the moment when that pressure finally turned into direct action. In this video, the goal is not to shout slogans or take sides, but to understand what truly happened. We will examine why the United States says it acted, what motivations may exist beyond official statements, how Venezuela responded, and how the rest of the world reacted. Most importantly, we will look ahead. Events like this rarely end in a single day. They create ripple effects that reshape politics, economies, and international rules for years to come. Understanding this moment is essential if we want to understand where the world may be heading next. Venezuela suddenly became the center of global attention. Reports said the US carried out military actions in key locations. Airspace was disrupted, and emergency alerts were issued. Civilians were surprised and confused as streets emptied. Social media exploded with videos and pictures of the chaos. Military convoys moved near government buildings. Emergency services struggled to maintain order. Years of sanctions and isolation had already weakened the country. This operation marked a major turning point. Diplomacy gave way to force, and consequences were immediate. News agencies worldwide reported continuously. People everywhere were asking what would happen next. Daily life was disrupted for millions. This chapter shows how events started and why the world reacted. The operation demonstrated the power of sudden military decisions. Everyone asked, why now? Conflicts like this don't happen suddenly. Tensions had been growing for years in Venezuela. Sanctions increased pressure on the country. Diplomatic channels had broken down. Accusations between nations increased distrust. Trust between governments had disappeared. Timing was important for political and strategic reasons. Windows of opportunity occur when many factors align. global and regional situations influenced the decision. From the US view, it seemed like the right moment to act. For Venezuela, it felt sudden and destabilizing. Citizens and institutions had to respond quickly. Internal pressures shaped the timing of the action. Years of tension led to this tipping point. Force became the chosen path after careful calculation. US officials explained why they acted. They said it was for national and regional security. Accusations against Venezuela's leaders were highlighted. The operation was called necessary and reluctant. Statements emphasized control and responsibility. Governments want people to understand their actions. Official explanations sometimes simplify the real reasons. Some motives were left unsaid or unclear. Public perception was important for both countries. Understanding the statements helps see the bigger picture. Messages were made to reassure citizens and allies. They influenced media and international reactions. The official reasons are not the full story. This chapter shows what was said and why. It prepares us to explore deeper strategic motives. Venezuela has huge oil and resources. Control of these resources affects global power. Its location in Latin America is very strategic. Regional influence is important for trade and security. Global competition also played a role. Economic pressure alone did not work. Political, economic, and military goals all overlapped. Energy, influence, and credibility shaped the decision. Timing and planning were carefully calculated. Strategic reasons are often hidden behind official statements. High-risk actions are made when interests align. The stakes included stability and international reputation. Decisions were influenced by global and local factors. Understanding strategy explains why action happened. Multiple factors combined to create this moment. The operation was deliberate, not random. The operation raised questions about legality. International law protects national sovereignty. Military intervention is normally not allowed. Critics said this violated international rules. Supporters claimed it was necessary for security. The debate affects future conflicts and precedents. Smaller countries watched closely. Law and power sometimes appear unequal. Global institutions face challenges enforcing rules. Legitimacy is important for international reactions. Reactions depend on strategic and political interests. The world debated the fairness of the action. Legal arguments shape alliances and criticism. Stability and credibility are tied to legality. This chapter examines law and global reactions. The debate shows the complexity of international order. Inside Venezuela, reactions were strong and immediate. Government officials condemned the action. Military units were put on high alert. Civilians faced fear and uncertainty. Daily routines were disrupted. Public opinion was divided. Some blamed foreign powers, others internal leaders. Economic hardships worsened quickly. Communities struggled to stay organized. The human impact was significant. Citizens needed safety and information. Social and political divisions were visible. Reactions varied by region. Some protests and rallies appeared. Ordinary people suffered most. The country's future depended on public response. International reactions also shaped outcomes. The crisis could escalate or create opportunities. The story is ongoing, and global attention continues. The events in Venezuela are not just about one country. They show how global power is used in today's world. Military action always creates long-term consequences. What happens next will depend on decisions made now. Diplomacy could still change the direction of this crisis. Escalation could bring more instability to the region. Other nations are closely watching every move. Global alliances may shift because of this conflict. History shows that force rarely ends problems quickly. Ordinary people often pay the highest price. The situation remains uncertain and fragile. Future actions could bring peace or deeper conflict. This moment will be studied for years to come. The world now waits to see what the next step will be. And the question remains unanswered. Will this lead to resolution or to something far more dangerous?